Welcome to the Money Effect, where I bring you all news, money, finance, and investment related. Just a quick disclaimer: this is not financial advice, just strictly for educational purposes and just my opinions. Please like and subscribe for continued content. Now that's out the way. Let's go. So let's talk about the main. It's been a big week in the financial markets. Let's talk about the couple of the main topics, and one of the main topics is in America, we got cooling down of um, CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, which is one of their measures for inflation. And there's different CPIs they use. This measure is All Urban Consumer Index, and it's slowing. And if we look at kind of what's driving it down, you can see, okay, although we've still got high, in America anyway, food costs and transportation is increasing. I think energy is the big one that's coming down. And why is this important? Because we know that the Federal Reserve in America, they're basically been, since all the 2020 when we had all this, we already had low interest rates, and then we had all this stimulus pumped in. Inflation just got out of control, and they've slowly been increasing interest rates to bring down inflation. Now, while in the UK, which is a separate story. It's inflation is getting a bit more troublesome. It's hard to go down, and we've got interest rates now north 5%, which is causing increases in mortgages. In America, they've basically held interest rates, and they're saying, well, we're going to just monitor the data for the next couple of months and see where we're at. So when we're getting these low inflation numbers, it's a good sign, and I think we're getting to the point, definitely in America. Are there going to be some more rate hikes? I would potentially say yes, because I feel like the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, he's not going to want a repeat where he stops or possibly lowers inflation for it to then come back with. Sorry about that. Yeah, as I was saying, I think that the chairman, he's not going to want to, just keep inflation as they're at or lower it, specifically lower it, because he's going to want to take a wait and see approach and just kind of wait and see what's going on. But while we're getting these low numbers in inflation, it's given to the market that we're near the end of this Federal Reserve hike, and potentially we're going to see lower rates. I mean, matter of opinion, but it's definitely in a position where if you've got money to the sideline, all these growth stocks that all these, especially these tech stocks that just had these massive run ups and then massive crashes, they're really kind of seeing their bottom, and it's really something time. I would say get in and get invested, and you always want to get into these things when they're at their low. You don't want to get into them at their high, but still do your due diligence. If there's companies you like, obviously the growth stocks have a different feature to value stocks, but yeah, it's in America the inflation is going down. Like I said, in the UK, not so much. But are we nearing the end? We're going to see. But I mean, I don't think we're going to see decreases in interest rates in America this year. If we did, whew, but we're definitely getting to the point where maybe we might just see the next one. We're just going to stay hold, and you know let's look at one stock. So, for example, you see Snapchat. Snapchat. Well, if we look at his 5 days, look, this is a stock that let's look at his maximum run because we can just see the impact here. This is a stock that we know what Snapchat is, social media stock. It hit the market around 30 and it really didn't do anything. For the early investors that invested in Snapchat back in the day before it went public, they've obviously sold here and it really wasn't doing nothing. Then in this 2020 bull run, when everybody was at home, we had all this cheap money, everybody was using social media. Look, it went all the way up and it got to 75. This is the point where, like I always say, a lot of people was probably investing here, thinking it's going to go further, and look, it just crashed, and it hasn't really been doing anything. It's just really been staying around the 8, 9, 10. But this week, we've seen it kind of break out now to the upside where we're thinking, okay, interest rates are probably going to go down a little bit lower. No, this is I use Snapchat personally. Is it the best social media out there? No, probably not. If we look at Meta, Instagram, Facebook with their threads, they've had a great rise this year. But this is just the point of how the growth stocks are now going to move. So you see, it's just pivoting up, pivoting up, pivoting up because of this news on inflation. So listen, if you've got some growth stocks and you saw them here and you didn't invest, and now you're seeing them here and you like them, this is the time to get in. So let's turn to some crypto news because it was a big week for crypto. So in crypto land, one of the issues we've had, the regulators have really been piping down on cryptocurrency. Not a bad thing. We had a guy called Alex Basinski, a Celsius guy. He's just been arrested now. He's the latest one that's been arrested. Uh, Trying to get some people that put all their life savings, their pensions into um, crypto, and he just basically run off their money. So the regulators have really been breathing down on crypto, and what they're basically been saying is that every cryptocurrency except Bitcoin is in a sense exchange traded, so it should be marked as a security. If it's marked as a security, obviously the regulators will have more control. And in America, they've been really cracking down. In the UK, not so much, and in Asia, not so much. But in America, they've just been, and Canada as well, they've just been really cracking down on cryptocurrency. Ripple has gone there and they've won a victory over the regulators in America, saying, you know what, we're not a cryptocurrency. And the reason why this bodes well for everyone else is because XRP was probably one of the most ones you could say would probably is a security because it's probably one of the most exchanged links. So if they're saying, then that kind of bodes well. And we know that Coinbase, Binance, they've all got their court cases pending in terms of this issue. So it just bodes well for these altcoins, and it's really like a major judgment. And you can see, look, it was up 75%. So it's really a big judgment. And you can see, let's look at the price. If you look at the price, look, you after this thing came out, let's look in, sorry, 7 days. Well, we can see right now, this thing is doubled. It wasn't really doing. This is why sometimes it is good to, if you have a belief and you believe in, XRP wasn't a security and you're following this stuff, it's why it's always good. It's a good time to invest in these things because look, they're so low. Like, if you look at all time highs and in these peak bull runs, this was the one in 2017. It went all the way to here. I mean, that was just the mania. Again, in the recent one, it went all the way to here. We're kind of near there now. But if you was investing here and you're thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna see if this does, and you've got the money to lose, you're basically trebled your money or at least doubled it. So it's definitely a positive for altcoins. Are we in altcoin season? You know what, we could be near the bottom, but like I said, there's a lot of these altcoins that are very low levels. So if you are a believer in cryptocurrency, you are a believer in altcoins. Um, you know, it's a good time for you to get in, and it's a big landmark victory. One of the things that's been really doing well is the miners that produce Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really, I feel Bitcoin is really impressive. It's been less volatile. It's really stabilized, and these miners that produce, they're getting prepared for the halving. So when the halving goes down, there'll be less Bitcoin, and the price should go up. So obviously these miners, they're rising in anticipation. And one of the miners I like the most, Cleanspark, you could just see what it's doing. Like, this is something that is just, again, off the altcoin news as well and off the Bitcoin stability. It's really just bubbling, doing so well. And again, look, if you look at this when it hit the market, it's getting to 60. It's at $6 right now. So its peak was at 30 in the last bull run. So if we're, and listen, I don't think we're in a altcoin bull run yet. I don't think we're in a crypto bull run yet, but I do see the signs of us bottoming. And if the Federal Reserve start lowering interest rates, which I don't think is going to happen this year, but potentially next year, you're going to see a lot of a new bull run spark in 2024, 2025, especially when the Bitcoin halving is, and these things are going to shoot up. And it's better to get in them now than when they are popular. So yeah, that's some major news for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies pushing nicely. And then one stock I like, again, a lot of these growth companies, that kind of hit the market during all these runs. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of these growth companies that they kind of hit the IPO market when all these valuations were so high. And obviously they just have not lived up to expectation at all. And if you're somebody that bought in on them, me, I would never buy on IPO on the first day. But if you're somebody that did, you probably lost a lot of money. But if you're somebody that hasn't, now we're going to see the good from the bad companies. And for me, I always like stocks that I use and I know about just from a basic level. It doesn't. We're always looking for those smaller companies. Like I said, I gave you an example of Snapchat, but if we look at Meta's performance, Meta was like has literally tripled in the last year. This is something that anybody on social media is using Meta's products, whether that's WhatsApp, whether that's Instagram, whether that's their new thread. So, if you find in these low valuation companies you like, they don't have that much debt, they've got good cash reserves, and it's something and a product you think will be useful, listen, it's a good time to get in. And Trustpilot, they've jumped nearly 20%. I use them for anything review wise. I always look at Trustpilot, so it's something I use. And you can see, like I said, it opened at 265 during the bull run of the last bull run. It got all the way to 450, and since then it's just literally done nothing. But people that look at this company, they've been buying, 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 buying. You get your averages low, and now look, it's still at a nice level. Look, it's nowhere near 265. How high can it go? But as inflation is coming down, interest rates, potentially get cheaper, makes borrowing easier for these companies. The recession is not as bad as it seems. These companies start lifting guidance. You're going to see a lot of these companies with low levels that are going to now start shooting back up again. And that's the kind of companies you want to look for. And I feel like Trustpilot is one of those companies that, in the future, 1 2 years, will potentially double from here. So yeah, that's the money effect. Just giving you some brief news roundup. Yeah, big news. Inflation in America is coming down, not so much in the UK, and a big win for crypto and altcoins as that industry progresses to the next bull run. So yeah, please like and subscribe. I'm out.